Good afternoon, YouTubers. I'm not an expert, and today we're going to put a handle on this hatchet head. This hatchet, let me get it up close where you can see it. Is it in focus? I always wonder what this is. Isn't it in focus? I can't even tell. Okay, right there. Kelly Axe and Tool Works, Charleston, West Virginia. Excellent. On this side, True Temper. Okay, so kind of a classic. I don't know if it's a roofer's hatchet. It's got a nail pole. It's hasn't been ground very pretty. It's got a hammerhead that doesn't really look like it got used that much, but there's a lot of peening around the top of the eye. Bottom of the eye looks good. So we need to make a handle for it. So I got a piece of ash, because I have some, that has some nice straight grain growing through it. But you see it's diagonal. And what we really want is for the hammerhead to align, the cutting edge to align with this straight grain. That's the most strength. If you do it like this, the hammerhead like this, you can see how it would split on you. After a while, actually, a piece of ash like this and a small hatchet like this would probably last forever anyway. But it's always nice to do it, so it looks good. And so nobody ever looks at you and goes, your hammer handle sucks. That's always a good idea. All right, so I'm going to get a piece of ash like this. This is 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. Or as they sell it, it's 8/4 at my local wood supplier. Ash is a good handle wood. People argue what's best: ash, white, oak. Hickory, of course, is the classic. But I happen to have ash, so that's what we're using. I don't have to glue it together, too. It's a nice thick piece. All right, well, let's get on with the show. All right. First thing we've done is we've mounted our piece of wood, our lumber. Here it's 3/4 by 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. I have it mounted in the lathe, and one of the things we're not going to worry about right now, but when we make the handle, is the grain, which as you can see is basically vertical right there. It's almost perfectly on the diagonal on this piece. We want the grain to travel through the handle in the direction that the hatchet chops for the most strength. Not that probably never really a problem with something this size, but it's for the best. Anyway, the first thing we're going to do in creating an oval handle is we're going to round it. So I have my roughing gouge. Long way to go. Okay, it's not perfectly round, but it's pretty close. So let's start thinking about how much diameter do we need to get this to the right shape, to what we want. Now that it's pretty well rounded, I'm going to go ahead and check how much do I need for the head. That ought to be more than enough. So I'm not going to do any more cutting down here for now. And then from here, I want it to be fattest between, say, maybe here to about here, and then fat again here. So a little thinner here, a little fatter here, and quite a bit thinner through this center section. In my imagination, that's about right. Maybe even a little thin. And I need to make so that'll be kind of the fat, taper, and then swell a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so now the part I have left to do on this part is just this center section here. Going to make this pretty. Now, that's actually pretty good for now, because the next step, I'm going to leave it right there. The next step, you see that's pretty crude. The next step is going to be to start ovalizing it. We're going to make this from here to here oval, and then we'll deal with the part that fits in the head later. So what I've done here, you can see those little cross lines. I've marked lines along the grain, 1/4 inch off center on each side. Actually, it's a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch, and I did both ends. I'm going to mount it up so that those are the eccentrics, and when I mount to this one, right, it will, there we go, get it in focus. When I mount to this one, it'll cut off to this side. That's not right then. I was in the wrong place. Glad I checked. Good thing you're looking. Good thing you're here with me, right? I want to move the eccentric over here to cut off this side and keep the vertical grain. All mounted up, and you can see, I all mounted up and just realized I'm not mounted correctly. So let's move this back a little bit so that it comes all the way out. It's not hitting. Just a little farther. I like a little bit of space to work in. Let's see, is that going to be comfortable? Yes. Okay. Let's see, we're running? Yeah. So I'm going to slow it down a little. And we're going to start taking off on the side. Oop. Kind of like doing this with the roughing gouge better. So let's grab that. All right, there we go. Tighten this thing up a little bit. And we'll pick it up just a little bit of speed. The trick is to watch the ghost on the far side. And it's a little hard to see, but we've taken it in quite a bit, so I think I will bring this over here, and we will do the other half. Give it a look. All right, I've almost taken all my shoulder out of it, so I think I'll make it just a little. Yeah, you know what? Let's not do anything with it right now. Let's flip it over to the other side. I'll start rounding the other half, and we'll see what it ends up looking like. And let's see what it looks like. Okay, now it's not quite centered yet. You take a little more off. Oh yeah, that's looking kind of neat. Okay, so we're doing. Okay, which one am I cutting on? Yeah, that one. So that's deeper than the first one. Let me go back up to here. We'll do this end. And let's see. This one cutting a little bit more. Well, that's getting pretty close. Let's see which side it's cutting. It's cutting on this side. So I think I want to put it back. Now this needs a little bit more off right here. Then I'll put it back on the other side. Okay, that's the side we just cut. That's good. Yeah, just a tiny bit off the first side that I cut to catch it up. bet that's about it. Yeah, well, it's not quite perfect, but let's see which side needs a little more off to be balanced. That's pretty close. Just do the same thing over here. The rest I'm going to do with, ouch, just pinched myself right there. You see that? Caught my thumb in there. Don't do that. Okay, so now it's oval. It's a little fat this way. That's the center cut. So I'm going to put it back on its centers and trim a little off of that. And right back on the center. Right back on the center. And we'll take a little bit off the center. The original. Let's see what she looks like now. How would that feel in my hand? Maybe just a little bit more. Okay, there's a spot that needs a little prettying up. Let's pull it out and take a look. Okay, that's kind of thick, kind of heavy for that size hammerhead. So I'm going to take a little bit more off because I think I don't want it to be, you know, it's not chopping down whole trees. Okay, that feels pretty good. I'm going to go with that. Yeah, still it's pretty wide, but that's, I could take a little more off of those. Let's see, how's this one look for width? This is pretty beefy. It's just a little bit thicker. A little thicker through here. See how this gets narrow through the neck? I need to narrow it through the neck a little bit. Let's see. Front to back. Front to back, it's okay. So I'm going to take some more off the sides. So let's mount it to this one. And just through this neck section. Go off about 1/16 of an inch on that side. Starting from about here. So it looks. Okay, need a little bit more. Is that the cutting side or is it the far side? That's the far side. Yeah, I can fix that with sandpaper. Okay, now comes the dangerous part. Not really. Let me find some sandpaper and I'll be right back. Okay. Got some 80 grit sandpaper. You still have center? Oh, I'm still off center. I'm going to put on the centers to do this because I think it'll come out better. Edit that to remove coughs. Or not. There we go. tore through the paper. Let's take a look at it. Okay, that looks much more like a handle. So, to give you a good look at it, I think I'm holding too close. So you can see here, and then as you rotate it, it's going to get thinner and fatter. So that's making, still pretty beefy. Maybe a little too beefy. I may take it down some more. But that's going to be my oval handle cut on a lathe. So let me work on it a little bit, and I'll come back to it. Okay, if you can see this, I think it's pretty good. So I want to define where the bottom of the handle is going to be with the parting tool. So I'm going to take right off where that shoulder is, take it down, and make a part. Okay, so that's where the bottom's going to have to be now, because I put it on there. And we'll take a regular gouge. Let's see how that looks. Does it look like the bottom of a handle? Well, it will after I sand a little off of it. And then we'll just slice that off and tweak it up in other ways. Let's pull this out. And we're back to some sandpaper. Make this thing look nice. In the top too. You just got to be real careful think about where the forces are when it's pulling. Where is it going to pull your hand? Is it going to pull your hand into here? So if you're like this, it's not bad. I can control my right hand. I can control my left hand just fine from there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now that feels like a hatchet should feel. It feels pretty good. I think this is going to be pretty nice. Now I can, but with kind of almost a straight taper when I got done. I was trying to make it more of a shoulder here, but it went away. I think I'm just going to let it go. Now you can see from the grain, you should have these flat arches, right? These cathedral arches should be on the sides and straight grain through the center. That way the strength of this wood is really in the direction of the chopping is going to be. Now I haven't done anything with this head area yet. I got to do some thinking on that. So I'm thinking I'm going to turn the camera off, because this is going to have to get whittled down into the shape. This weird shape is going to have to go on there. So I got to do a little thinking, a little figuring. All right, we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, after a bit, here's my handle, my oval turned handle. So there's the neck area in the handle, and the base is a little wider. It's the grain is pretty well aligned with the direction. I've got my cathedrals on the side. I think it looks pretty good. So now the trick is to turn that into something that'll fit in that eye. I've got spoke shaves, draw knives, chisels, power tools. We'll get it there. I'm just not sure where to start yet. So let me start doing some drawing. We'll see how it goes. Oops. Okay, so I've started, but it's still a lot wider than the eye. So the first thing I'm going to do is get it to the end of it to fit in. And I think it's got a little more on this top edge that I can remove. You can see where a shave horse comes in handy because you can move this so quickly. Let's see, what am I looking at? So where I want it to go, let's look at quite a bit on each end. I'm going to cheat a little, and I'm going to go to a different kind of tool. It's a little easier for me to use if I can remember where I put it. Recently I bought one of these. This is a Shinto rasp, and they really remove wood quickly. For this kind of work, I think they're highly recommended. Let's see if I take this. Where's my giant mallet? Okay, let me start getting some lines I can. Okay, got a lot of wood to take off. All right, getting there. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna come to the sides down more. Okay, let's see what I haven't done wrong. Okay, so you can see can you see that? Where it's bruised the wood there. That's the shape I want. I have it on both sides. So, stuff with the fine side. Because this is on a half circle, I've got to get it down pretty far before I start to even find out what the other pieces need. So just keep going deeper, I guess. Let's see. Hog some of that. And we'll get that off. We'll take a good look at it. See how the bruising? That's where it's hitting. Okay, so right now I have that shape, and I've got bruising coming around to the front. There's a little bit right there. It was focused. There it is. Kind of likes to focus, kind of doesn't. So I have a lot of wood here I've got to get rid of. So let me hit it with that rasp, and I'll be back in a few. Okay, the sides of it aren't too bad. The front and back, this is where it's jamming up. So I've got to get in there and do a little delicate work. Like that. Okay, that's pretty good. So we can rotate a little. Okay, pull it out of there. And for this side, am I still on camera? Yeah. Lower it down a little bit. For over here, I'm going to go a little easier, so I'm going to use this. So I find a way to hold it still. Okay. A little bit off of there. Now, I don't have to set that all the way down here. I can just get it to where it gets wood all the way through. Clang. It's still sticking. It's hard to tell where. What do you guys see? You see where it's sticking? It's looking pretty good. Maybe a little tight right there on that leading edge. Maybe not. No, I think it's overall just a little fat. All right. So I have it on. I need to shape around the neck. There it is through the top. Now it's a little gappy around the front, but I think it's going to be okay. We're going to find out. I'll put the slot in it and figure out what to do for a wedge. And we'll go from there. So what I'm going to do is take a pencil. I'm going to draw a line so I can see really good where it is. When it's on here, I don't want to take any more wood off underneath this head. But I want to clean this up and pretty it up, and it needs to be smoothed and just make it nice. All right, we're tapping the old wedge in. All right, clean that up with sandpaper later after it dries. That's what it looks like. You can imagine what it's going to look like when I put some boiled linseed oil on it tomorrow, maybe after that dries up a little bit. It's going to be pretty nice. All right, here it is. I guess it's finished. I put one coat of boiled linseed oil on it so far. Get a good look at it. Looks nice to me. There's a shadow there. Huh. And there's what it looks like from the top. I think it should hold up okay. We'll have to do some chopping with it and find out. That's all I got for now. We'll catch you later.